jump on you. You're doing something else. You feel that moment of safety and security, and then that shifts, and he's just there. And being able to jump after so much playtime is just such a testament to that foundation that we built here. And I think our sandbox elements really kind of add a lot of rich layers that let players choose how they want to play this game. And there's been so many moments in our playtests where just absolute chaos ensues with a group, and Michael enters the scene. Everyone scatters, whether it's on a bike, whether it's on a car, and there's just so much pandemonium, just like quintessential classic horror movie moments. And that's the stuff I'm so stoked to see when this game is out in the wild.
I agree.
So some other outside of the core multiplayer experience, outside of matchmaking, I do want to just kind of quickly rattle through some and confirm some features. Some of these we've already touched on previously, but outside of matchmaking, you will be able to load into private matches with up to 5 players, play with your friends. We are going to allow duplicate civilians, so don't worry if someone chooses your main, even though we do have a pretty robust roster. If you want to stack that lobby, that's fine. We're going to allow duplicates, which is awesome. And we will also have an in-game friends list.
So
and
nobody's fighting over
crossplay,
characters
for this as well.
Hell yeah,
I
I
did
like
want to
that
call
idea.
out cross progression because we've had some questions about that. We don't currently have plans for cross progression, but there will be crossplay available on all platforms. Jordan, anything else we want to touch on in multiplayer?
I think, yeah, last thing, just to acknowledge and say the queuing. There we understand there's importance around addressing that, and we will talk about it at a later date, closer to launch, because we know that it obviously is a big part of how people play these games, and we've been just gathering a lot of that experience and just making sure we're getting the right thing there. And I want to make sure we have that all in a good spot to give the details and really walk through it, so people are very
The
much
queue times on
aligned with it.
TCM is
But then
terrible.
additionally,
So don't
we
let it be
wanna make
like
sure
that over
we're not
here.
splitting
I'm
up
just saying.
parties. I think that's
The
just kind
queue
of
times
something
on
that's kind of in
TCM is
tandem there that I
terrible,
think is good
bro.
to call out for that situation.
Oh, don't,
Yeah, and that is very important. If a squad groups together, they don't
bro,
have to worry
don't
about
tell
being
me the queue
separated
times
in the
gonna be worse
matchmaking
over
pool, which
here,
is,
because
I know very important
that's
for a
what
lot of
killed the
people.
game
So,
on TCM. Was the
appreciate you
queue.
touching on that, and like you said, as we get
People
closer to launch,
backing
we'll have some
out.
more details to share on specifically what that looks like. All right, so in addition to 12 playable civilian characters, we've also shown 3 distinct maps that all your multiplayer shenanigans will unfold in, and that all started with Haddonfield Heights, the quiet suburban neighborhood, which is home to the Myers House and the Strode House. We have Haddonfield Town Center, which is home to Nichols Hardware and the bustling cultural downtown of Haddonfield. And we also have Orange Grove Estates, which is the upscale neighborhood home to the Wallace and Doyle residences. So Jordan, outside of unique visual flavor, how are we ensuring that each of these maps look and feel distinct?
Yeah, this has been something that has been a big improvement part on it, like something we've really driven to expand on for this game. There's kind of a fundamental starting point of we need to build Haddonfield from 1978. There's a guiding light there as far as what we were trying to accomplish, but that's from an aesthetic point. It also comes into the gameplay in a sense that a lot of the things that we're designing from the sandbox perspective is trying to think about the possibilities of what it's like to actually run around a neighborhood. There's a lot of times from my childhood I can remember, I wasn't alive in the 70s, but I did have time when I was growing up where I lived in the Midwest. I was very familiar with just the culture of being outside and getting in trouble and being a pyromaniac with fireworks and various things that I got up to. So I wanted to make sure that we were recreating what it felt like to do that, which then in turn had to make sure that the look, the spacing, the feel of the actual neighborhood needs to make sense as we expand into more commercially kind of influenced areas. Like all these pieces need to fit what would exist in Illinois in the 70s. And then as we looked at that and got kind of that really good sense of the types of locations, it was about really breaking down the types of structures, because the
That
types of
figurine is
structures are a
fire.
big part of the gameplay.
I'm not gonna lie.
Once you look at it, there's obviously a very big difference between external outside gameplay and internal structure gameplay. So each of these maps has different types of structures. Some of them have houses. There's varying degrees of single story. There's second story houses. There's bigger commercial buildings. There's other types of places that just create different types of situations, but ultimately have the same gameplay elements. So we've been able to really shuffle around and build unique spacing and locations while using a lot of the same aspects that make it feel like a neighborhood, but also leveraging things like I mentioned, double second story houses is a completely it's a huge thing for gameplay, because now you've got a whole dynamic where there is a second story window you can jump out of, or a balcony you can leap off of, that creates a final moment of, this is going to hurt, but at least I breathe another few seconds. So that in between the different spacing, there's car densities, there's hedges, fences, foliage, roads, street lights. The lighting is obviously a big portion, just because of the fact that Michael relies on, that is obviously a bad thing for his traversal, and in portions where he's trying to navigate through that, lit up areas are much more difficult to navigate. So there's definitely a size difference amongst these different maps, as well as just spacing and kind of layout differences that make a really unique approach to it each time, that is additionally flavored with the visual aspects that make these locations different each time. So it's very, very fun to be able to have this type of variety, so that each time you're playing, there's a lot to explore and learn about these. It's not going to be something there's map knowledge that needs to be learned from where you need to go and where you can get through fences and where the nearest phone location is going to be. There's just a lot of little things like that, on top of the fact that we have randomized a lot of gameplay throughout that as well, to just further increase the just feel that these are different each time you play them. So hopefully that kind of boils down to what we're looking at, but that's how I see these from what we've developed.
Yeah, I know the team was very excited to reveal Orange Grove Estates because there's some really great verticality to that map. Not only the multi-story houses, but as you can tell in that fly-through, there is this big hill in one section of the map that overlooks the lower section, and it's got this great flow and energy, and it affects line of sight. And with
The park
Michael,
too, like that
yeah,
open space is big. Yeah.
and Michael's ability to just like stare people down, like that line of sight is so important to the design. And I think our level design team has really done a great job making these landscapes, while true to the period, true to the state, feel very distinct from a gameplay perspective.
There's the amount of like Hunter, our lead level designer, he has the references that he compiled of just like plain imagery from the time, and things to just like really understand the true inner workings of Midwestern culture and layouts and infrastructure. Like there's so much that goes into that, but at the end of the day, it comes forward in a very nuanced place where you don't even think about it. It's kind of second nature to a lot of us to walk through these places and see them occupied, and we really wanted to make sure that was coming through.
Perfect. Yeah, I think players are going to be very excited when they get to really explore these play spaces for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And another wrinkle that we have added to this game to ensure that feeling between matches stays very fresh and unique is that we have variable weather effects. So between matches, there are different weather conditions that you'll see. So when you load into a map, every single map has the opportunity to have a different weather effect. And it changes not only the look and feel of the game, but just kind of the energy. And so what elements in your eyes does this system add to the overall experience for the player?
So the different aspects are pretty straightforward in that it's something, it's different for your senses. It creates an entirely different ambiance for these locations. Being inside of a house when it's raining is that pitter patter of the rain muffled outside, and seeing it run down the windows, that type of stuff is just, it changes the look, but it also makes it harder to see distances. The wind and what that does to the foliage creates tougher visual connection points as the players are scanning these locations, so they can really kind of add that layer, as well as just being louder and being something that you're not always going to pick up the footsteps or the breathing of Michael in every situation. So it definitely puts you on your toes, and it gives you a little something to switch up each of these. And once again, we've tried to keep this grounded in Illinois 1978. Let's try and look at weather patterns at a rough level, just to see kind of what would actually be happening there, and keep it as close as we can, while also giving this layer that allows players to experience these levels in a different state.
There is something very awesome about seeing Michael just standing in the rain, just that shadowy
Drenched.
shape off in the distance, just drenched in the rain. There's
Yeah.
and you saw it in our multiplayer overview trailer. We were very excited about showcasing like how tough he looks in that situation. So yeah, there's some great flavor to that.
Mm-hmm.
All right, up next, we are going to talk a bit about meta unlocks. We do have plans to have a more in-depth overview ahead of launch, but we did want to spend some time today talking about some of the other pieces that you can unlock in this game outside of alternate outfits. And we're going to start with profile icons, profile backgrounds, titles, and player cards. So in Halloween the game, players are going to have the opportunity to unlock these items by completing various challenges and customize their own profile cards, which again is an added layer of customization within this experience. Jordan, I know our team is working very hard to provide as many rewards as possible in this experience. So outside of something like profile icons, backgrounds, what other layers are we adding to that chase and that hook for Halloween the game?
Yeah, I mean, this has always been a fun part. I've been a part of most of our meta meta progression kind of build outs over time. For this one, trying to keep it focused on the big things that'll kind of drive forward a lot of stuff. We have profile level. That is an overall tracker on your profile. We'll have a killer Michael Myers specific level. We'll have each civilian will have their own levels. Each of these are gained by obviously playing with those characters, and then as well as starting weapon levels for Michael. He'll be able to select a starting weapon after unlocking them with the correct killer level, of course, and then be able to level those weapons up as he's using them, which unlocks other things I'll get to in a second. We have a lot of progressive challenges for each of the different killer skins, as well as each of the different civilians. So each of those have progressive steps to challenges. So you have to complete one to complete the next, and we'll load in unlocks throughout those different things to really focus on, I'm playing this character, I'm going to unlock a lot of things in relation to that, as well as sprinkling in things like the profile cards and banners and giving you things unique to that experience. Passive challenges as well, just kind of an overall just tracker of a lot of your different things that are pretty common. We've set up different books for the different sides that kind of give you a lot of different opportunities to test and play a lot of the different features, and unlock more things that you can then customize further. So that's kind of a lot of the big things for where you'll be unlocking these things. But there's also things like experience that you'll get, as well as different executions, tints, and things, and for Michael especially, and his weapons. And then also we have an in-game currency. And that kind of goes into something that I'm not going to get into too deep here, because this is kind of a part of and will be fleshed out in Miles. As he'd mentioned, the kind of going over more of this metagame stuff. But civilian perks, we've definitely shown and given pretty, they've been in all the gameplay. You've seen them, we've mentioned them. We want to make sure that we get a nice solid dive into those. But essentially at a high level, they are, you have a perk inventory on your menu that you'll be able to roll for perks and get different perks that you can then equip to decks. And those decks are what you equip to your characters going in, so that is what, when you're earning those perks in game, that's where it's drawing from. Because there's just a lot of things we wanted to make sure are not getting too competitive, and this is one of those aspects where we feel like we can take a nice casualized approach to it and make sure it remains in a fair category for the use cases. So we'll dive into those more later, but you